My talk today is on a koan, but it's on Suzuki Roshi's interpretation of the koan. So, what I'm going to do is read the koan. I have an interpretation. Suzuki Roshi's interpretation is a little hard for, a little terse, but I've read it now many, many times, and I have these thoughts on it. So here we go. Sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha. This is in the Blue Cliff record as case number 3, and the Shoyu Roku case 35. Master Ma was unwell. The temple superintendent asked him, "Teacher, how has your venerable health been recently?" The great master said, "Sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha." So I'm not getting any younger. I seem to be more aware recently that I am aging. And this dialogue around aging and my health is now a constant conscious and unconscious conversation in my head. My father, who is in his mid 90s with dementia, broke his hip last month. My dog is 11 and is going lame. So, in this language of my genetic people, this could be considered kvetching, which means complaining. This negative conversation seems to resonate with a moon faced Buddha. But if my father, dog, and I were optimal physical specimens, and I was boasting about our superior health, would that be any different? A Buddhist sutra says that the sun-faced Buddha lasts hundreds and hundreds of years, but the moon-faced Buddha lasts only one day and one night. I find something reassuring about this as I rationalize my mental impressions of the sun-faced Buddha and moon-faced Buddha. I prefer that the sun-faced Buddha is synonymous with health and vitality and lasts thousands of times longer than the moon-faced Buddha, believing that this archetype is synonymous with old age and sickness. Suzuki Roshi says in his talk on this koan, and I am inserting some connective language to make this interpretation more readable. The purpose of Zazen is to make ourselves physically strong, to make ourselves mentally healthy or strong, maybe to make our mind healthy and our body healthy. But a healthy mind is not just, a healthy mind in its usual sense. And a weak body in its usual sense, whether it is weak or strong, when that weakness and that strength are based on so-called truth or Buddha nature, that is a healthy mind and a healthy body. So I believe Roshi is saying that our obvious superficial instincts and biases are incorrect. We are making what is one into two when we see ourselves aligning with the notion that the moon-faced Buddha and the sun-faced Buddha exist as if they are separate or distinct entities, or if we interpret them as a positive or a negative. Sun-faced Buddha and moon-faced Buddha seem to be two diametric realities, as the words are evocative of health and sickness, old age and death, and good and bad. The French saying comme ci, comme ça, which translates to so-so, good, neither good nor bad, seems in the ballpark of Zen understanding. I can relate to Master Ma, whose Japanese name is Baso, and this is not because he could cover his entire nose with his tongue. It is said that Master Ma in his day was a formidable figure, both physically and in his manner. He was a bit intense, but in this koan, Master Ma is frail and diminished. He is on his deathbed. He has had a prolific life as a Zen master. He ordained 139 Dharma heirs. That is exhausting. One Tokido ceremony was a lot for me. So, Master Ma was once a man of great presence and stature, and sorry, my computer battery rolled down here. Master Ma was once a man of great presence and stature, and here on his deathbed, he is asked, "How's your health?" If I were to be asked this question myself, I would probably respond shitty. So thanks for asking. But Master Ma was not an ordinary man. And Suzuki Roshi said that Master Ma was a man of great composure. Master Ma, cuts down the center without aligning with the moon or sun face Buddha, thereby making the two into one. Roshi says, and I am paraphrasing it at first, at first you should observe. You should understand your own everyday activity in two ways. And then you should be able to understand or react in one way without problem. We should try hard to understand things in terms of good or bad. And sometimes you should be able to ignore the understanding from the viewpoint of good or bad. Good or bad, as this is a superficial understanding. But when you understand things, everything is one. Everything is one. At first, you should be able to understand and accept things in two ways. But this is not enough. It is still dualistic. So you should be able to understand in one of the two ways without thinking. This is one of the two understandings. Here you come back from a starting point. But it is not a starting point because you have freedom from one to the other. So you will not be bothered by it. And whether you do, that is the great activity of the practice. This is actually what we are doing every day. But the difference between Basso and we ordinary people is that for Basso, whatever happens to him, he can accept things as it is, as it happens. But we cannot accept everything. Something that you think is good, you may accept it, but something which you do not like, you cannot. You don't accept it, and you compare one to the other, and you may say, this is the truth, this is not the truth, and he is a true Zen master, and he is not a true Zen master, and he is a good Zen student, but I am not. That is quite the usual way of understanding. With this kind of understanding, you cannot figure out what kind of idea we sit on every day. To attain enlightenment means to have this kind of complete composure in our life without any discrimination, without any description or discrimination. So that's a lot to ingest. And there are a lot of paradoxes to unravel. I am envious of Master Ma's unflappability, being present and not clinging to who he was or what he's lost. Not to mention the fact that his death is imminent when asked this question. Master Ma accepts his condition. He has no desire for things to be different than they are. This makes me ponder, how do I transcend clinging to my thoughts, knowing they are not tangible? I am constantly reflecting on the past as the present and projecting the past and present into the future. So, how do I transcend? How do I see one truly as one, two as two, and two as one? But this seems like a rhetorical question, of course, Zazen, but easier said than done. Occasionally, when I sit Zazen, I experience a sensory memory of a sesshin where my sitting was so blissful that the rain totally absorbed me. Sometimes when I sit and it is raining and muggy out, I can access an inner experience of what I would describe as savory sultriness, lusciousness, or suchness is probably the most appropriate word. Roshi's words brought me directly to that experience, as I usually would be distracted by the rain. However, while I was in the state, the sound of the traffic outside and the rain seemed to be one for a couple of sitting periods. But the more I sit, intending to reattain this blissful zazen, the further I am from bliss. I am and was attached to the idea of attaining, and consequently, I became 180 degrees off from non attainment. Similarly, the more I focus on my health or age, the further I am from acceptance of my situation. So if you are sick, be sick. If you are alive, live to the fullest, embrace and transcend our frailty and foibles to be present and clear. Roshi's words bring me closer to understanding that fearlessness comes not from bravado or arrogance in the face of adversity. It comes from acceptance and giving in to whatever is presented. So I'll conclude with Roshi's words. This kind of confidence within ourselves is important. When you have this kind of confidence in yourself, in your being, we can practice true zazen, which is beyond perfect or imperfect, good or bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? Pardon me. Yes, Sandy? Or Spencer can ask you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. When you gave your talk, which I enjoyed very much, the one thing that really came to mind and stayed in my mind through it was that from the Heart Sutra, that there is nothing to attain and no attainment. And I know that if we sit down in zazen with something in mind, something we're searching for, looking for, it's never around. It seems to disappear. I remember I had a day like that my zazen was just so, I just felt so blissful and relaxed, and my mind was quiet. And I tried to get that back, and I knew that it was futile, that I really wasn't going to attain that by trying to attain it. So that's one thing that's stuck with me from the Heart Sutra that I remember the most. And I try to let things be and not try to attain. And if I find I get something, then I get something. If I don't, I don't. So thank you for your talk, Spencer.
Thank you. Let me just talk to Donna for a second because I need to plug in my iPad before it dies. I need a USB-C to lightning. Right there. So, yeah, attainment, this made me think because I always, boy, if I could just have that sitting.
I guess he lost connection.
He'll be back on. He's changing machines.
Yeah, or chords or something. Yeah. By the way, I like your haircut, Jane. I like your haircut.
Thank you.
Looks really good.
Thank you.
And yours too, Peter.
I thought you were talking about me, Sandy.
I am. I see
Here
a
he
bit.
is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Here's Spencer. Sound, Spencer. Sound.
Sorry, I rejoined on my iPhone. So I think I'm good now. So attainment was sort of the core of this, and I've always been searching for that moment again. It never came, and I was really bifurcating myself in the search when it's really organic. And you know, the real interesting part of Roshi's words were, the being one or being two. If you're a sun-faced Buddha, he says that's good. If you're a moon-faced Buddha, that's good. But you have to be complete. And once you're complete in either, that's good enough. And you're not making one into, you're not making two, and you're not differentiating, and you're not clinging. And that's really the most important part.
That's true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you.
Spencer, I enjoyed your topic. Oh, yes, Mike.
I can actually take your talk to heart right now. But I feel that even though you deal with things that get in the way of your practice health-wise and stuff like that, that giving in to it is not really what I need to do, in the sense that I've been told I need to keep fighting, that my lifestyle is what's giving me my health. But I feel that as I live each day, I just live that day. I don't think about the past. I don't think about the future. And so I agree and disagree with some of the things you said, but it's my experience is showing me that the past is not there. It's gone. It's just memories. The future doesn't exist. There's only the now. And the now, if you're not feeling good, you're not feeling good. If you're feeling good, you're feeling good. And I do hate to say this, I have not ever had a blissful meditation. It's always been a torture and a struggle and stuff. But I enjoyed your talk very much, and it was kind of appropriate for me. So I thank you on that.
Thank you. It's more about radical acceptance and being in the moment. Here's Basso on his deathbed, and he's obviously dying, and this guy says, "Hey, how's your health?" And he says, "So," and he didn't get into it, but he was just in the moment, and it wasn't a question of whether he was fighting to be alive or not, but he accepted where he was enough that he wasn't living in the past, and he could get to a place where he could accept any future. And I think that was the power in this koan.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Let me come on over there.
All right, not another robe chant, Mark.
Oh, you're never gonna let me live that down. And fortunately, I will never. I can't even repeat that. But so it's gone. Next time, I'll actually turn around and look for the right material and take the time. It was right behind me the whole time, but I thought it would magically start in my head and to come out. But apparently, I have to be led through. There's just like all the blind. And so I just want to say I really like your talk, and I like the sun face, moon face Buddha. And I like that, what you're putting together and breaking it apart and looking at and examining. And it's such a wonderful koan. And it really has, I think you really did get to the heart of it, which is we all go into, if we're looking for attainment, we're trying to have something. And the whole word kind of fights itself when we're talking about that in Buddhism. It's probably a very kind of misleading term, but it's all Buddha, as you were saying. We separate it at our own peril. And it is living in the moment without any expectations that allows us to have freedom, whether we're happy, overly stimulated, or if we're at the depths near the end. And I think many people realize that at the end, it's really, that's a part of attainment, I guess you could say, because you attain death, I suppose. You do get something out of it. So, but it is an end, and we face it every day, and yet we forget about it and start quibbling about whether I had a good day or not, or if I forgot the road chant. Yes, I could. It's kind of like that. It doesn't really matter at the end of it all, the end of your thought process. And so how much do you cling to that? But I thank you for that. It's really good. I really enjoy that.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Matt,
Where'd it go?
you're muted, Matt.
Thank you. Sorry I missed your talk. I'm not familiar with the koan. Which one is it? If you could let me know, and I'll take a look.
Sun face Buddha, moon face Buddha.
Oh, that is okay. Gotcha. It sounds very much like how Peter concluded my dokusan, or our dokusan today. Every day is a good day, regardless of how you're feeling. Is what he encouraged me to live with. And I just wanted to throw that in. Peter, that was a quote from Suzuki Roshi, was it?
No, it was which anyway. Well, it wasn't. No, it's a Chinese quote, and it's
It's a koan, right?
it's a koan. Yeah, it's koan, but koan isn't a koan until someone else makes it one. But I'm trying to remember who the teacher was. But it was anyway. It's from China. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for giving the talk.
Okay. Anyone else like to?
I'd like to say
Yo,
something.
Jade. Yep.
Spencer, I really did enjoy your talk, and I think of that off and on, but I've never felt that I really understood it, and I think your talk today helped a lot. In fact, one of the things it reminded me of was a Star Trek movie, when Worf, the Klingon, and all the others are surrounded by the enemy and they have no way out. And everybody starts getting scared and starts saying, "What shall we do? What can we do? We're lost." And they look at the Klingon, and he says, "Today is a good day to die."
Wow. This is special, Spencer. No one has ever said anything about, emulating Star Trek in any talk at all. And I think that's a new
That's the
first.
Klingon way. Was in the face of death, they always just say, "Well, today is a good day to die." So I was thinking of that a little bit while you were talking, but I think it's just human nature that even I'm at 86 going on 87 and I still think there's time to do things. You know? It'll be a while before I start saying today is a good day to die. But thank you, it was really helpful.
Thank you. Well, I didn't mention it, but I believe Basso was found, in Zazen when he passed away. So he was, in on a cushion doing Zazen, and it was a good day for him.
Rachel?
Thanks, Spencer. It reminded me of light and dark in Sandokai. I mean, like the front and back foot in walking. And also, now I'm not sure, Peter and Jane, isn't in Japan white the color of death? I mean, see, usually black is in Western, but I think white is actually the color of death. Anyway, it
That's
reminded
correct.
me of
Yeah.
that. We make Westerners make it a dichotomy, but the thing about the Sandakai, I love the front and back foot in walking. Like, go ahead, choose which one you want, front or back. But thank you, Spencer, very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone.